So after the Xbox Games Showcase and the Starfield Direct, which I would say is one of the best showcases that we have seen from Xbox in a very long time, I thought it was an incredible show. We got a lot more information from Phil Spencer and Matt Booty as they did a number of interviews, and specifically they were on the Giant Bomb Night podcast or stream, whatever you want to call it, and they gave us a lot of insight as to how Xbox is doing with Game Pass, their first party releases, and all of that type of stuff. So let's take a look at some of the stuff they have to say. First of all, let's talk about Xbox first party releases. Now, I know there is the narrative that has been going around, I would say previous to the Xbox Game Showcase, that they have been dropping the ball on the first party releases. I mean, 2022, there was nothing that came out. People quickly forget that in 2021, they won the Metacritic Publisher of the Year with releases like Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite, and they set a record for the Metacritic score overall. So they've had an off year in 2022, but 2023, even with the release of Redfall getting a bad reception, is looking like it is going to be a phenomenal year from first party releases from Xbox. You think about Hi-Fi Rush that has come out, Redfall, and then you had Minecraft Legends, and there's still Forza Motorsport, which is looking excellent. I mean, we can't really expect anything less from a Forza Motorsport game. And then, I mean, Starfield. What more to say about Starfield? But I think it's probably the most anticipated game this year, even with all the amazing stuff that has been announced and that is coming out. And when it comes to their first party releases, they actually believe, Xbox and Matt Booty believe, that they have turned a quarter when it comes to their regular game releases. And Matt Booty spoke on the Giant Bomb Night podcast, but also spoke to GameIndustry.biz. And here's exactly what he has to say in terms of the first party releases. He says, we had some gaps last year, but I think we've turned the corner going into 2023. I am feeling very good about launching Hi-Fi Rush. We have Minecraft Legends out there that's doing well. We've had Age of Empires continuing to come to console. And that's another one everyone always forgets about. Age of Empires 2, the definitive edition, did release on console this year, so you can consider that a first party release. And says, as we saw today, we are excited for the fall with Forza Motorsport and Starfield. But when we get to 2024, it really kicks into gear. We've got Towerborn, Hellblade 2, Avowed, Flight Simulator 2024, and some things we haven't talked about so far. And I mean, if you're sitting here thinking about 2023, I personally think 2023 is going to be a phenomenal. It already has been a good year, but it's going to end off as an incredible year for Xbox with Starfield and Forza Motorsport coming out in the fall. 2024 sounds even better overall, because I think overall the games here that have been announced are generally more appealing to more people, and they're huge games like Hellblade 2, Avowed. Towerborn is that third-party game that's a lot of people are excited for. Flight Simulator 2024, which is, I guess, the new iteration of Flight Simulator, which actually has a large fan base of people that play it. And then, as he says, things that haven't been talked about so far. We have no idea what else is coming down the line. There was a clip of Phil Spencer on the Giant Bomb podcast kind of hinting at something from id that they're working on that looks really, really good. Maybe that's something we will see announced going forward. But man, 2024 and beyond is going to be a very, very good time to be a part of the Xbox ecosystem. You think about what they have wanted to do since they started announcing all these acquisitions. It was a game every quarter. And when they first said this, in my mind, and I probably said this in videos as well, I didn't think they were going to hit that until maybe 2023 and maybe 2024. But we're here already in 2023. By the end of this year, they're going to have already reached their goal of at least releasing one game every quarter. That's at least 4 games a year. And they're going to be surpassing that this year. And it seems like they're going to be surpassing that next year. So Xbox right now, no matter what people are thinking, what people are saying about their first party output, they are in a very good spot and they are doing well, contrary to all of the negativity surrounding Xbox because of the Redfall release. And when it comes to Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, there has been that question that is always going around, and that is, are they profitable? Is Xbox Game Pass profitable? And we've already seen Phil Spencer say that it is, and he has actually just recently reiterated that Xbox and Xbox Game Pass are both profitable. Now, first of all, this is a article here from tweaktown.com, and there's a little bit of an investigation that is done here. It says the Xbox games business is also profitable and is not operating at a loss. Records indicate that Microsoft's games division made 15.56 billion revenues in 2022, driven primarily by content and services, and that would include Xbox Game Pass and all of the microtransactions or all the purchases made within the Xbox store. I mean, that's where the majority of the money is made with all of these platforms these days. And it says here it includes full game sales, monetization, and subscriptions like Xbox Game Pass. Based on percentages provided by Spencer in 2022, further investigation reveals that Game Pass could have made as much as 10 to 15% of Xbox's digital revenues, representing a range of 1.197 billion to 1.796 billion for the calendar 2022. So that's a large number. It is bringing in a lot of money, and I think that's going to continue to expand, especially with games like Starfield coming out onto the service. Now, specifically, here's what Phil Spencer says, and this here is on the Giant Bomb at Night video, stream, podcast, whatever you want to call it. It says, Game Pass is profitable, Xbox is profitable, I've said it's sustainable, but people ask me what I meant by that. And he goes off here and really gives a deep dive into exactly what he means, and I'll read through what he says here. For this, I'm going to take it back to the console, the olden days when we just did games on console. Every time we shipped a console, we pretended that Sony and Nintendo didn't exist. So at any time you looked at a game and you said, hey, you're not shipping this game on the full console base, you're excluding, let's just call 2/3 of the market. Let's just say we're going to ship Halo 2 and we're not shipping it on Nintendo or Sony. Nobody ever asked me, hey, how does the profit and loss for this game work when you're not selling it everywhere you can sell it? But now with Game Pass, people kind of get stuck. They say, well, wait a minute, you're not selling every copy you can sell. How can you afford to go and do these games? Continues here and says, the math is actually very similar for us. What you did on the old school consoles, you said, okay, how many consoles are you going to sell because Halo 2 launches? How long will those players stay on the platform, and how many games will they buy? And that is more cost effective to keep the game exclusive to your platform. And I think that point there is very, very good, because everyone looks at console exclusivity or just exclusives in general, and everyone is just looking at the overall sales numbers of these games. It sells 5 million, 10 million, whatever it is, right? But overall, if you ship or you sell 5 million games, it means nothing if they're exclusives, if they're firm first party, if they're all that type of stuff. If people are getting those games, playing it for 10 hours, and then never jumping back into your ecosystem and spending money, it's just not going to be cost effective, especially with the size and the scopes of the games. This is why we see the switch and the move to more games as a service, which is exactly what Sony is really going to be focusing on going forward, because these companies know that they need to keep gamers in their ecosystem. They need to keep gamers on their systems for as long as possible, because if they do that, there's a higher chance that they are continuously spending money. And when games are becoming more expensive, a lot more to develop, a lot more resources going into them, just the singular purchase of one game, a one and done, and not spending any more money within their system isn't going to cut it for the overall profit and loss and the return on investment that they are looking for. Now, it continues on here and says, let's be clear, we could have sold Halo 2 on PlayStation. We probably would have sold a couple of copies. We probably could have done the same on the Nintendo platform. So when I look at Game Pass, we absolutely are going to make money on Starfield. Touch wood, that's the plan. And we will go grow Game Pass, and Xbox will be better platform both on PC and console where people play. And that's a key thing here, because people are always asking, why do you like supporting Game Pass? Why do you like renting games and all of this type of stuff? And is this going to deteriorate the actual games that come into the service? And so far, I mean, you're seeing a game like Starfield come onto Xbox Game Pass. It's absolutely not going to deteriorate the quality of these games. To me, this is like a generational game that we are going to be getting from Bethesda, unless it comes out and it's a complete dud, which I highly doubt. But the more people that are playing Starfield because of Game Pass, or going out and buying it, or signing up to the subscription services, jumping into the Xbox ecosystem and spending money over a long period of time, the higher quality of games are going to be coming into the service. And we are seeing that happen. I mean, we just look at the Xbox showcase with some of the third-party games coming into Xbox Game Pass. The quality of these games are getting better and better, and that's just going to continue, especially when a game like Starfield drops and tons of people are going to be spending money and playing it. We're going to see more bigger games coming in to Xbox Game Pass. And finally ends it off here and says, For us, it's about expanding our platform reach, and we think importing games like Starfield will be catalysts for Game Pass growth on a lot of different platforms. But anytime you're growing a platform, there's always this trade-off with games. We're not a third-party publisher, right? We do something different with our content like Starfield, but not all content. Obviously, Minecraft ships on other platforms. So there you have it. It gives a pretty good deep dive with an example for people out there wondering how Game Pass is successful and how it makes money and how this actually brings big games onto the platform. It's getting people to stay within your ecosystem and stay within your services for long periods of time to continuously spend money to increase the return on investment that this game that brought them into the service has created. So some good info here. Obviously, Game Pass is profitable. Obviously, Xbox is profitable, but people still question it. And Phil Spencer is here reiterating it. But I will leave the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.